Hello everybody, welcome back. It is Thursday, and Thursdays always mean one thing for the most part. We are going to throw it back. We're going to throw it way back to exponents for our slot lesson today. So I know that we did expressions and evaluating expressions using order of operations before spring break, and sometimes within those operations we're going to see exponents. And it's really important that we understand what an exponent is telling us to do. Now, although this seems like such a simple concept, it is one that we seem to have trouble with here and there, and we've seen that throughout the months. So here we are to practice. So when we're talking about exponents, it's important that you understand what they are. 3 to the 4th power, like we like to say. This is our base. The number 3 is our base number. The exponent is our 4. It's important when we do this that we know that the operation that is associated with exponents is always going to be multiplication. But understanding what to multiply is very important. Obviously, we're going to always multiply our base number, but we have to make sure that we know that that exponent tells us how many times to multiply the base by itself. That's where we usually find our problems. Sometimes people make the mistake of multiplying the base times the exponent. That's going to give us 12 here. That's not what we do with exponents. When we're working with exponents, that 4 or whatever number is in the power, whatever number is our exponent, is telling us how many times to multiply the base by itself. Always multiplying by itself. So here, when we look at 3 to the 4th, that is telling us that we're going to multiply 3 by itself 4 times. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? I'm going to give you guys a second to solve that if you would like. Okay? Take one piece at a time. 3 times 3. 9. 9 times 3. 27. And then 27 times 3. Now, when you're doing that 27 times 3, I want to make sure that you are not guessing. By no means should we be guessing. Okay? So we did our first 3 times 3, which gave me 9. And then we did this, which is going to give us 27. And then when we do our 27, we want to make sure that we write it vertically, and that we do it out the correct way. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is going to give me 8. So 3 to the 4th power is actually going to be 81, which is very different from if we made the mistake of just multiplying the base by the exponent, which would have been 12. That's not how we do it. Remember, when we're working with exponents, we take the base, and the exponent is giving us directions, telling us how many times to multiply the base 3 by itself. So let's do a few examples together. This will work with any number, but sometimes I think just starting simple or working with simple numbers is all we really need to understand a concept. So if I have 2 to the 3rd power, and I asked you to write an expression would be for this 2 times 2 times 2. The 2 was my base, my exponent is 3, and that 3 is telling me to multiply that base 2 by itself 3 times. I love to use parentheses when I do things like this because that always tells us what part to do first. And even at my age, that still helps me. So 2 times 2 is going to give me 4, and I always rewrite my expression. 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give me a product of 8. Nice work. Let's do another one. Let's say we have 5 to the 3rd. Once again, this is my base, the 5. My exponent is a 3. And that 3 is telling me to take my base of 5 and multiply it by itself 3 times. So my expression would be 5 times 5 times 5. Love using my parentheses. 5 times 5 is going to give me 25. Now this is one that you may be able to do mentally, and you maybe don't have to write it out. That's okay, because we know that 25 times 4 is going to give me 100, so 25 times 5 is going to be 125.